Sorry I couldn't be there for the conference in Rio. I would have loved to have been there, but congratulations to Jose and to the rest of the NudgeRio team for having this special event, the first one in Brazil. And I guess I wanted to just maybe say a few words about what's been happening across the world in relation to behavioural insights and how it's been spreading. Now, really, it started back in around 2012, where there were just a few behavioural insights teams that were being rolled out in different governments, primarily in the United States and then the UK. And now we fast forward to 2019, and now there's well over 200 different initiatives by governments and regulatory entities at the national level and at the local level who are all applying behavioural insights. And I think it's important to first of all think about why. Well, the first reason why most of them have started to do this is because essentially they wanted to try and have better policies. They wanted to have better policies that were going to make a difference and do what they were supposed to do. Because many of them were trying different things, whether it was in relation to tax or whether it was in relation to social policy or labour policy or environmental policy, but the policies weren't necessarily working. So they wanted a new tool, and this new tool came about, and it's become something now that is something that all governments now are beginning to try and have some kind of capacity that looks at things from this behavioural lens. And what is this behavioural lens? Well, the way that I describe this behavioural lens is that there are three key elements to it. And I call them the three E's. The first is being empirical, and that is using evidence from the social sciences, which previously hasn't necessarily been used, in order to come up with solutions and interventions, policies that will really make a difference. So not necessarily relying on traditional economic theory of how people are incentivized, mainly if that's financial or others, but actually looking at the evidence in order to try and see what actually makes people work and why people actually do what they do. The second E, if you like, is experimentation. And that is trying and testing things out in order to try and determine whether or not what you think is going to happen does actually happen. There was a very interesting paper that just came out actually this month, which tested the language that organizations use in order to describe themselves for ethical behavior. So for instance, do you use the term we, or do you use the term the organization? So the organization says that you should, or do you say we should? Now what this found was that indeed by using the we, what you actually get here is you get more of a warmer feeling from the group about the organization, which is great for most organizations. However, at the same time, you also get people beginning to become more dishonest as a result. And this is the kind of reason why experimentation and investing in experimentation is so important, because you never know what the unintended consequences actually are, and what you can do to try and improve things. We see a similar kind of thing in relation to programming. Depending upon what words you use, you will either attract, for want of a better word, the losers to a program. Say, for instance, if you have a funding program, or you may attract the winners, but you won't know until you actually experiment. And the final E, if you like, is ethics. Ethics has been a mainstay in the behavioural world. That is also something where people have maybe criticised and said that why are governments beginning to use behavioural insights? Is this appropriate? They're using lessons from psychology. Is this something that's right? But what we've found is that most governments and public entities, they are using their existing frameworks as well as developing new frameworks, like having ethical boards or like having academics and experts be part of their designs and critique them from the outside in order to ensure that they are adhering to the highest level of ethical standards and that they are applying the behavioural sciences correctly inside public policy. So there are a number of different reasons why. There's a number of key elements that are improving, and it's great that you are all here having this discussion and seeing how also you can use behavioural insights in terms of making better policies, which ultimately, as we say in the OECD, we hope will actually, and not in theory, but actually deliver better lives. So once again, thank you very much. And again, apologies I can't be there this time, but I do hope to be able to come maybe another time down to Brazil. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.